All right, thanks, guys. Coming off a 4-1 day on our Patreon plays yesterday. Up a couple units, man. Just an outstanding Friday. Great way to kick the weekend off. Patreon.com/RockPage. That's the website there. And once again, coming off a 4-1 day for a Friday. So we're going to look to do the same thing today. Happy Saturday to you. The weekend's finally here. Obviously, you can see we are back into the, we're back in the Sentra SR. With the all leather and the sport mode, and that's about as fancy as it gets. It's not a really fancy car, but I'm very happy that I have leather seats, Bose speakers, and I have sport mode. I rarely get dusted on the highway. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into some Saturday matchups here. We're on the road right now, like I said. I'm at the DMV now. The wife is changing her last name to mine, and got to be resourceful, so we're doing the video in the car, and then I'm going to walk across the highway and upload this at the McDonald's using their Wi-Fi. So being very resourceful, but never want to miss a day. Love engaging with you guys. So let's go ahead and get into Saturday's action, beginning with Tampa Bay taking on the Blue Jays. 3:07 Eastern first pitch in Toronto. Now, we have no line currently posted for this game, but it does look like Andrew Kittredge will be the starter for the Rays. Looks like we have Ryan Baruchi in his second start coming back from injury for Toronto. Now, Kittredge comes into this game for the Rays with a 1-0 record, 2.55 ERA. He also has 19 strikeouts in just 17 innings pitched. Now, the Rays are 31-21 away from home this year. Pretty good when traveling. They're also in first place in that second wildcard spot in the American League. They are first in runs allowed, fourth in striking batters out on the road. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays on the other side, you guys know their woes. Not all that great this year. They're dead last in hits on average per game, last in walks allowed. They're also, they've been winners in just 19 out of 52 games at home this year. So once again, no line posted for this game, but Tampa Bay should win it. So give me Tampa Bay on the money line, getting the job done for some money line cash. All right, next game we have for you, it is going to be Dodgers Nationals. 4:05 Eastern first pitch in Washington. The Dodgers are minus 170, totals at 10. We did see a nickel fade of Los Angeles in the early wagering. No movement on the total as of yet. The Dodgers open $1.75 down to 170. Total open 10, remains at 10 flat. 77% of the consensus is leaning toward the Dodgers, and at the moment the Nats are plus 160 on the money line. We have Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers, Joe Ross for the Nats. Ross is 0-2 with a 9.45 ERA and a 2.05 WHIP. Meanwhile, Kershaw on the other side for the Dodgers, 8-2 on the year, 2.84 ERA and a 1.02 WHIP. He also has 108 strikeouts and just 111 innings pitched. Now, Washington is 18th in hits allowed on average per game. They've also won just 15 out of 35 as the underdog. They're 20-24 taking on teams over 540, so really struggling against those top-tier teams in Major League Baseball. One more thing about the Nationals, they're winning just 28% of their games at the current market price. Now, the Dodgers on the other side, 13-4 when Kershaw starts, 19-5 at the current market price. They have the most wins in Major League Baseball. They are 68-37 overall for the year. Now, total-wise, the Dodgers are 4-0 to the under in their last four. The Nats are 29-20 to the under when the line was 9 or higher. So with all that said and done, I think it's going to stay under. Pretty chalky lean here, very expensive price. I'm not so sure we'll see a whole lot of scoring, so I don't want to lay the 1.5. So give me the Dodgers minus 170 and the under 10 runs in that game. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Yankees, Red Sox, 4:05 Boston. The Red Sox are minus 140, totals at 12. We saw a 10-cent move toward the Red Sox and movement upward on the total. Boston opened $1.30 up to $1.40. Total open 11.5 up to 12 flat. 60% are leaning Boston, 64% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Yankees are plus 130 on the money line. The Red Sox plus $1.30 on the run line. We have CC Sabathia for the Yankees, Eduardo Rodriguez for the Red Sox. I actually have it written down as Ed Rodriguez. I wonder if people call him Ed. But anyway, Rodriguez comes into this game for Boston with a 4.10 ERA and a 1.28 WHIP. Now, CC on the other side, he comes into this game with a 5-5 record, 79 strikeouts in just 86 innings. Now, Boston is third in the AL East, 9 games back of these very Yankees. They're also 22nd in runs allowed, 29th in walks allowed on home on average per game, which is actually second to last in Major League Baseball in that category there. Now, the Yankees on the other side, they're first in scoring, 6th in hits, first in the AL East, 66 and 37 overall for the year. They're also 28 and 20 when traveling. The Yankees are 6 and 3 taking on Boston this year. They're winning 66% of their games in the third game without a day off, and they're also winning 64% of their games taking on teams allowing more than 4.2 runs per contest. Now, total-wise, the Yankees are 36 and 12 to the over when traveling. They're also 75% to the over when the line was 9 or higher on the road. Now, on the other side, Boston 16 and 5 to the over when Rodriguez makes the first pitch. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Yankees plus 1.5 and the over 12 runs in that game. Next matchup, Detroit, Seattle, 410 Seattle. The Mariners are minus 140, totals at 9. We saw a 20-cent fade of Seattle and movement downward on the total. The Mariners open $1.60 down to 120, total open 9.5 down to 9 flat. 69% are leaning Seattle, 52% shaded toward the under. Right now the Tigers are plus 130 on the money line, Seattle plus $1.35 on the run line. We have Tyler Alexander for the Tigers, Marco Gonzalez for the Mariners. Now, Gonzalez is 11 and 8 on the year, 91 strikeouts in 127 innings. The Mariners are 4 and 1 in their last 5 at home. Very surprising there because Seattle has struggled at home this year, but 4 and 1 in their last 5 at home. They're also 8th in home offensive walks. Now, Detroit on the other side, they have the fewest wins in Major League Baseball, just 30 of them. They're 30 and 69 overall. That's going to put them nearly at 40 games under 500. They've also won just 17 out of 50 games on the road. Now, the Tigers are 0-6 in their last 6 when traveling. Losers in 10 out of their last 11 at any location. And they've won just 24 out of 88 as the official underdog. That's amazing that they were the underdog for 88 games this year. But anyway... moving on, the Tigers are 19 and 12 to the over on the road when the line was 9 or higher. Seattle 55 and 26 to the over when the line was 9 or higher. Same category there. I'm going to lean Mariners minus 140 and the over 9 runs in that game. All right, next matchup, Diamondbacks, Marlins. 610 Miami. The D-backs are minus 120, totals at 8. We did see a nickel fade of the D-backs in the early wagering. Not a whole lot of movement on the total. The D-backs open 125 down to minus 120. Total open and remained at 8 flat. 56% are leaning D-backs, 68% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Marlins are plus 110 on the money line. The D-backs plus $1.45 on the run line. We have Alex Young for the D-backs, Jordan Yamamoto for the Marlins. Now, Alex Young for Arizona is 3-0 on the year with a 2.38 ERA and a 0.66 whip. Now, that isn't just 22 innings pitched, but he's got 18 strikeouts in those 22 innings. Now, Arizona's 7-2 in their last 9 taking on Miami, if you're into historical trends. Arizona ranks 3rd in road scoring on average per game. They're also 3rd in road hits and 10th in runs allowed on the road. Now, the Diamondbacks are winning 64% of their games in the second day without a day off. They're also winning 73% of their games as the official road favorite. So very good when traveling when they're expected to win. Now, Miami on the other side, little bit different story. Winners in just 18 out of 49 as the home underdog. They're dead last in the NL East. Pretty much, 23 games under 500. They're 39 and 62 overall for the year. They've also won just 19 out of 51 at home. Now, total-wise, Miami's 65% to the over at home when the line was 8 to 8.5. Miami's also 71% to the over when Jordan Yamamoto makes the start. Now, the Diamondbacks on the other side, 18 and 10 to the over, taking on teams under 460. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Arizona Diamondbacks minus 120 and the over 8 runs in that game. All right, next matchup. Braves, Phillies, 7:05 South Philly, Citizens Bank Park. The Braves are -$1.25, totals at 10. Seeing movement on both the money line and the total in this one. We saw a nickel move toward Atlanta. We also saw movement upward on the total. The Braves open $1.20 up to 125. Total open 9.5 up to 10. 62% are leaning Braves. 60% shaded toward the over. Right now the Phillies are +110 on the money line. The Braves +$1.30 on the run line. We have Max Fried for the Braves. Zach Eflin for the Phils. Eflin's just 7-10 on the year with a 4.25 ERA and a 1.32 WHIP. Max Fried on the other side, completely different story. 10-4 record, 102 strikeouts, and just 103 innings pitched. Now the Phillies are just 21-31 against the spread at home, and of course when I refer to the spread in Major League Baseball, I'm referring to the run line. So once again, Phillies covered just 21 out of 52 at home this year. They're also 25th in home hits. They are in third place in the NL East. Now the Phils won just 7 out of 19 games where Eflin made the start. They've also won just 13 out of 40 ball games as the official Vegas underdog. One more thing to add about the Phillies, they're winning just 22% of their games as the official home underdog. Now Atlanta on the other side, they are 13-6 when Fried makes the start. They're winning 76% of their games as the official road favorite. They're 7th in road scoring, 8th in road hits, 8th in road hits allowed. Now total-wise, we're looking at an Atlanta team who's 18-10 to the under on the road when the line was 9 or higher. I'm going to lean Atlanta Braves -125 and the under 10 runs in that game. Next matchup, Cubs, Brewers, 7-10 Milwaukee. The Brewers are -110, totals 9.5. We saw a nickel fade of Milwaukee and movement downward on the total. The Brewers open 120, down to 115. Total open 10, down to 9.5. 52% are leaning Brewers, 63% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Cubs are +105 on the money line. The Brewers +$1.70 on the run line. We have Big John Lester for the Cubs, Chase Anderson for the Brewers. Lester comes into this game with a 9-6 record, 3.87 ERA. He also has 105 strikeouts and 107 innings. The Cubs are first in the wild card standings, 55-48 overall for the year. First in the wild card standings in the National League, of course. They are 5th in offensive walks on average per game. They're also 8th in runs allowed. Now, the Brewers on the other side, 24th in striking out, 22nd in walks allowed. And when it comes to the total, the Brewers are 5-2 to the over in their last 7. They're also 69% to the over in the second game without a day off. Now, the Cubbies are 13-6 to the over when Big John Lester makes the start. I'm going to lean Chicago +105 and the over 9.5 in that game. Next matchup, Rockies, Reds, 7-10 Cincinnati. No line currently posted for this game. We have Chichi Gonzalez for the Rockies, Anthony DeSclafani for the Reds. DeSclafani's 5-5 with 105 strikeouts in just 98 innings. He also had 11 Ks in just 6 innings pitched in his last start. Now, Chichi Gonzalez on the other side for the Rockies, cool name, bad stats. He's 0-2 in his current record this year. He's also got a 5.14 ERA and a 1.79 WHIP. Colorado, well, they are 5th in scoring. So here's what's interesting about here. Despite Chichi's bad stats, and despite how good DeSclafani is, I'm actually leaning toward Colorado in this one, and here's why. Colorado's 5th in scoring on average per game. They're also 4th in hits on average per game as well. They rank 7th in runs allowed on the road, and they're also 6-2 in their last 8 taking on Cincinnati. So even though we have the discrepancy with the starters, I think Colorado can push DeSclafani out of the game by the 5th or 6th inning and really pound that bullpen in the one of the smallest ballparks in Major League Baseball. Now, the Reds have dropped 7 out of their last 10. They're also just 1-6 in their last 7 at the Great American Ballpark. They are 4th in the NL Central, and well, they're 9 games under 500 at just 46-55 overall for the year. So normally don't do that. Some contradicting information, but all that said and done, I got to lean toward Colorado winning that game outright for some money line cash. All right, next game, Twins, White Sox, 7-10 Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. The Twins are 165, totals 10.5. We did see a 15-cent move toward Minnesota in the early wagering. They open $1.50 up to 165. Total opening remains at 10.5. 71% are leaning Minnesota, 52% shaded toward the under. Right now, the White Sox are plus 155 on the money line. The Twins minus $1.15 on the run line. We have Martin Perez for the Twins, Ivan Nova for the White Sox. Nova's just 5-9 with a 5.49 ERA and a 1.49 WHIP. Perez on the other side for the Twins, 8-3 record, 93 strikeouts in just 105 innings. The White Sox, in case you didn't know, they are 17 games back of Minnesota in that AL Central. 11 games under 500, just 45-56 overall for the year. The White Sox also struggle to cover that run line at home. They've covered just 19 out of 50 games at home, just 19-31 ATS at Guaranteed Rate Field. Now, the White Sox have really struggled as of late as well. They've lost 12 out of their last 15 ball games. They've also won just 8 out of 20 games where Nova made the start. One final thing about the White Sox, they're winning just 38% of their games as the official home underdog. Now, the Twins on the other side, completely different story. 6-2 taking on the White Sox this year, 40-22 straight up as the favorite. They're also winning 74% of their games as the official home favorite. They rank second in road scoring, first in road hits. When it comes to the total, Minnesota is 10-7 to the over when Perez makes the start. The White Sox are 14-7 to the over when Nova makes the start. So I'm going to lean Minnesota minus 165 and the over 10.5 in that game. Next matchup,